kiddos. I'm John, and I've been LJ's friend and her band member for over 13 years now, over a decade. And I've been asked to say a few words on behalf of the group before we make a joyful sound unto the Lord. And in addressing LJ's musical community and family here, I will also share some personal thoughts on what LJ has meant to me, both as a friend and as a musical colleague. Some 13 years ago, my lifelong compadre, Tom Erak, rang me up to come down and jam with LJ's band at a club in the Pioneer Square district. I hadn't yet heard of LJ, and I couldn't make any sense of the name of her band when Tom told it to me over the phone. Something about a garden hose. Neither did I know her keyboard player, Ken Cole, nor her drummer, Steve Peterson. In effect, LJ and the band held a residency at Larry's Greenfront nightclub, which has been a Pioneer Square institution since the 1940s. And in the fullness of time, I became a regular guitar player. My first years with LJ, I was also a returning student at UW, which is a nice way of saying that professionally I was on the skids. I was playing only a few pickup gigs, and that was top 40 fare. But playing with LJ and the guys put the fire back in my belly because we were playing straight up R&B and soul music, the kind of music that Tom and I have been playing since high school, or been playing in high school. But not only was the material terrific, but LJ's singing and the musicianship, the level of musicianship of her crew were inspiring and even challenging. During our first years at Larry's, the drum chair was shared between my new friend Steve and my old friend Rick and Lynn Johnson, which was an additional boon to me. For a decade after my joining LJ, we worked at Pioneer Square, and as today's program states, she also booked us at various festivals. We did showcases at Jazz Bones and at the EMP and private parties at the San Michelle Winery. We regularly jammed at her favorite spot, the Noble Court in Bellevue. LJ and Ken partnered to build Cole Porter Studios, where we recorded a CD of great songs written especially for LJ and the band by Ken and Tom. All of us have been greatly enriched professionally, artistically, spiritually, as well by our association, and LJ was the star around which we all orbited. But in the past week, I myself have reflected back on my own career path that has taken since joining LJ, and literally I can trace every musical enterprise in which I now belong back to her. Through LJ, we performed with the greatest singers from the Northwest, including Kathy McDonald, Patty Allen, Valerie Rosa, Sisters Pamela and Ori Moore, Corla Weigel, Nancy Clare, Susan Apple, Ann Leatherman, Linda Callahan, Antoine Richardson, and the main attraction, Howard Kalin, among others. Through her, I renewed friendships with singers Flo Braxton, Woody Woodhouse, guitarist Mark Whitman and Tim Turner, organist Pat Hughes, drummers Chris Layton, Tom Burgess, and Russ Cameron. We also played with the great drummers Mark Arnington, Eric Manigold, Mike DeRozier, Ben Smith. All these are very fine musicians. She also hosted a trio of fine saxmen in Jim King, Scotty Harris, Lonnie Williams, and introduced us to the fantastic harmonica player Lee Oscar. And through these connections, I eventually scored a gig with the Wailers, along with Ricky Johnson, and in the Wailers circle also, LJ is a common denominator and touchstone among many of us, including friends Marilee and Bill Mack and Little Bill Englehart and Reese Marin. When the Pioneer Square blues scene was in decline, LJ effectively carried the band, and we know she could be generous to a proverbial fault. I'm sure that we all figured out that the crisp bills that she peeled off at the end of the gig didn't come completely from the till, from the take of the house. She prided herself always, we know this, on taking care of her people. When the gigs did dry up and we were no longer working together for long spells, she would always stay in touch, calling without fail on my birthday, whose October date I share with her beloved nephew Aaron. She remembered birthdays and anniversaries for Ken's and Tom's family and Kathy Max and everyone. And as always, there were always those email blessings that came regularly. She gave of herself at my wedding, too. Are any of us surprised to hear that not only did she perform at the wedding, but also guided, directed, not to say herded, the guests, moreover directing the groom, his best men, the bridesmaids, or even the officiating rabbi. Designated positions in the hall. I can see her now. out in the hallway. Right this way, Rabbi Ted. She conducted us to the hall where we signed the official wedding contract. All of the band members treasure their own memories of LJ, and we can relate anecdotes for days, and we certainly shall, about this larger-than-life personality. And really, I don't know if she did anything in half measure. Among the fondest of my memories is LJ, oh yes, tutoring me in German during breaks at Larry's Greenfront, being in charge of the flashcards I was using to review before an exam. And she was very adept at, correct, and correcting. But the real corker was her lusty guffaws at my or Tom's clowning on stage. If we pulled a face or started doing the boogaloo or the shingling, or Tom channeled Elvis Presley or Joe Cocker or somebody, it was, you go, John, you go, Tom. But I give pride of place in my happiest recollections to the VIP treatment we were given at Dixie's restaurant. LJ had a well-deserved reputation for running a tight ship at Dixie's, and one could fairly characterize her as being straightforward in dealing with the customers, who approached this very formidable presence behind the cash register. But whenever LJ spotted me and my missus, or my mother-in-law, she would usher us up to the head of the line to place our orders, and I relished these puzzled expressions on those common folk who were trying to figure out how this schlub rated getting the red carpet treatment at Dixie's. LJ comforted me greatly when my parents died, and she confided her belief with me that a better place lay beyond the great divide with the Lord, and I trust she finds it to be so, and that she's happily reunited with her father, Gene, and her grandfather, the Reverend Porter. But in a strictly more material sense, the best indeed may be yet to come, because this past fall we recorded a new set of tracks in the studio, and I swear she was consistently in her best voice during the sessions. Now, she performed what we call guide vocals, intended only to guide the accompanying musicians while they were recording their instrumental tracks. That is, LJ's vocal tracks were not intended to be the final product, but LJ was so relaxed and poised, even while sitting in the isolation booth to record, that she really transcended this intended function. And Ken assures us that we have solid material from those sessions, and a CD project will be released forthcoming. We have been through a heck of a lot together, never to be forgotten gigs and events, and the Vamp and Hoes and all their friends and fans dearly miss LJ. May God rest her very abundant soul.
Thanks, guys. My name's Tony. This is Ken Cole, piano. This is Steve Peterson on the drums. Dr. John Hanford just spoke to do a song that Ken and I wrote. LJ recorded a few years back. I know that this is her favorite song that we wrote among 20 probably. I'm going to do my best to trash it.
Trust me, this ain't the blues.
They say you've arrived. It's your lucky one. Baby, that's true. You came easily. It was a piece of cake. Brother, don't you fool. 'Cause you comes over here. Something ain't feeling quite right. 'Cause it ain't never got it ready. When Jesus takes you home.